There was a man who built a ship where no water was. Now that sounds crazy, doesn't it? Why would someone go to all the trouble of building a ship in the middle of a dry desert? Yet that is exactly what we read about in today's passage from Genesis, chapter 6 through 9. And this man's name was Noah. And we learn that Noah was a righteous man, blameless in his generation, and he walked with God. But while Noah was righteous, the world around him was not. In fact, it was so corrupt that God looked down and saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every intention of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. So God was sorry that he had made mankind, and he was grieved in his heart. God, therefore, said that he would wipe out everything that he had made, both people and animals, from the face of the earth, except for Noah, because Noah was a righteous man. Then the Lord said to Noah, "Build yourself an ark of gopher wood. Make rooms in it, and cover it inside and outside with pitch. This is how you are to build it. The length of the ark is to be 300 cubits, its width 50 cubits, and its height 30 cubits. Make a roof for it to divide the ark into 3 sections and separate it into lower chambers and upper chambers. I will establish my covenant with you here. And as for the animals, the birds and the creatures that move along the ground, all living beings that are with you, you are to bring into the ark. You are to take 7 pairs of every kind into the ark, male and female, to keep them alive with you. Thus you shall bring in 2 of every kind of living being to keep alive on earth by the source of all life. They will come to you, and you shall take them in and let them go into the ark. Whatever goes in, stay in the ark with you until the waters recede from the earth. Take with you food for yourself, for the people with you, and for the animals, enough to sustain you for 7 days. Each day 1 pair of each kind of bird, 1 pair of every kind of animal, and 1 pair of every kind of creature moving along the ground, together with food for them. That is what you are to take with you, so that they may stay alive." So that's exactly what Noah did. He built the massive boat called an ark and gathered all the animals and birds and reptiles that God told him to gather, and they entered the ark and shut the door behind them. And just as they were getting settled in the ark, the Lord said to Noah, "In another week, I will send rain on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights. I will wipe out every living thing that I have made on the face of the earth. Then it will be cleansed." And then that's exactly what happened. For 40 days and 40 nights, the rain fell upon the earth. And all the wild animals, birds and livestock, everything that was on the ground, all died. And Noah and his family, and all the animals and birds and reptiles that were with them in the ark survived. So after the floodwaters receded, the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. And Noah sent out a dove to see if the water had receded. But the dove could find no resting place for its foot. So Noah waited another 7 days and sent out 2 doves, but they also returned to him because the surface of the ground was still too wet. Then Noah waited another 7 days and sent out a 3rd time a dove, which finally found a leaf and returned with an olive leaf in its mouth. So Noah knew that the ground had begun to dry. After waiting 7 more days, Noah opened the window of the ark that he had made, and he sent out the dove. And this time the dove did not return. And after 40 days, Noah and his sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and his daughter-in-law, all came out of the ark. And then God spoke to Noah and his sons, saying, "I now establish my covenant with you and your offspring after the flood. This is the sign of the covenant I am establishing between me and the earth. For as long as the earth endures, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night, will not cease." And he said to them, "This is the sign of the covenant I have established between all living creatures on earth." Then God said, "Never again will I destroy the earth by means of a flood. If I decide to put an end to the world again, I will not be patient again as I have been with you, but I will punish them. And the animals, the birds, and everything that lives in the water, and everything that moves on the land, I will wipe out from the earth. From all living things that are on the earth, you are to make 2 of every kind, male and female. They will live with you and will help you carry the burden of your labor. Then you can have them as food, but you must not eat them, whether wild or tame, great or small." And this passage teaches us some amazing lessons. First of all, it teaches us that the world can be a very corrupt place. Just think of it. God looked down and saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every intention of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. So much so that God regretted that he had made mankind. And if it wasn't for Noah, he would have destroyed all humans and all animals and completely wiped out life from the earth. So remember, friends, though our world can at times seem like a very nice place to live, under the surface there's a lot of evil going on. And when I say evil, I don't mean just murder and theft and things like that, but I mean evil hearts. Look around you and you will see people who are serving themselves, their own desires, their own selfish ambitions. And oftentimes it's subtle, right? It's hidden under a layer of nice clothes and nice words. So you got to be careful to look beyond the outward appearance and look at what's going on in the heart. And I'm not saying this to discourage you, but to encourage you to put your trust in God. Because even though the world may be corrupt, God has promised that he will never again destroy the earth by means of a flood. And likewise, he has promised us that his children will not be destroyed. Even in the worst of times, we can be confident that God will care for his children. And so even though we live in a wicked world, we can live without fear knowing that God has a plan for us and that he will always be with us. Secondly, this passage teaches us that God is just. You see, God looked down and saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every intention of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. So God said that he would wipe out everything that he had made, both people and animals, from the face of the earth. And this shows us that God hates sin. He hates evil. In whatever form that sin and evil takes, he hates it. So he does not tolerate it. And this is good news for us because it means that God is just. He punishes evil. And so we don't have to worry that evil will go unpunished. Now, you might be tempted to think that God is perhaps being a bit harsh, destroying everything. I mean, what about the dinosaurs? Were they evil? Well, yes. In the original creation, God made everything good. But in this passage, we see that everything is corrupted. And so even though something was created good, it became bad. And this applies to people, to the world, and even to Satan himself, who originally was a beautiful angel, but because of his pride, he became a fallen angel. So you see, everything became corrupted because of sin. And because of sin, God's judgment came. But the third lesson that we see from this passage is that God is merciful. You see, even though God hates sin and he judges sin, he is also a God who is rich in mercy. And he had mercy on Noah and his family and on all the animals that were on the ark. And this shows us that God is full of mercy and grace. And though he judges sin, he also forgives sin. And he gives people opportunities to turn away from their sin and believe in Jesus, who came so that we could have everlasting life. So friends, this passage is such an incredible passage. We see a God who is just, who hates sin, but who is also full of mercy and grace. And I hope that you've enjoyed our series on the person of Christ, which we've been doing over these past few weeks. If you haven't joined us for this series yet, you can go back and check out the videos. And I pray that you've been blessed by them. As we close today, I want to encourage you to do 3 things. First, please make sure that you are following Jesus Christ. Second, I want to encourage you to memorize this passage. This is an incredible story and you should commit it to memory. Read it to your kids. Read it to your grandkids. Read it to your friends and neighbors. Let this be a light that shines in the darkness. Third, I want to encourage you to share this video with others. Share this video with your friends, with your family members, with your coworkers. There are many people out there who need to hear the gospel and who need to know that there is a God who loves them and who died for them. So thank you all for joining us today as we learned about the man who built a ship where no water was, Noah. And may God bless you until next time.